Hey everybody, this is Coach Anna and Corey. We're talking about how to learn anything on ChatGPT, and just wanted to capture this conversation on Feedback Fridays with you. And so, what I'm going to have Corey is actually going to share his screen, and he's going to share this with us.
Okay, so
Yeah, go ahead.
So like this, like I was planning on the quest of becoming a full stack developer. So I needed like ChatGPT. I use it as a planner. It's like a planner for me. I use it in planning everything. So I asked it a simple question that, okay, give me a roadmap on how to become a full stack developer in 6 months. Yeah, so these were the breakers. Become a full stack developer in 6 months. This is challenging task. I already knew that, but it's possible if you are dedicated and focused. Here is the roadmap: learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then familiarize yourself with the backend language. That's still talking about the. So from the number one now, it gave me some platform. I can learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's FreeCodeCamp, Codeming, and the likes. So number two is familiarize yourself with the backend language. You will know. It's also they're like, okay, after learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then the next language suggested was Python and Ruby, and Node.js. Said, okay,
Well,
start down.
Well, this is actually really helpful when you think about upskilling, right, or reskilling, or moving your profession in another direction. So scroll down. Let me see how you took this once you asked it for that roadmap. Let me see how you continued.
So like what like it was during February. So I now have to break it down, starting from monthly, like create a monthly calendar, starting from March. So this was how so it break it down. March now it suggested, okay, I learned this. April, I learned this.
Yeah.
May, I learned this. June, 6 months. July, then up to the month of September.
Yes. Now that's really great. So have you started the actual roadmap yet?
No, not yet, but I'm starting this month.
Okay. So change. You have to change your schedule. All right. So let me share my screen and let me show you what I'm doing since I started the Python training. Right. Let's go here. Give me a second to clear this. Profile. Switch that profile. We're gonna go over here. All right, so you can see that okay now, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so on the Python, what we see here is what I'm doing is I'm learning Python for those who are watching us. And here's the idea: when you think about how do you learn anything, you can actually go back and fine tune that prompt you have on how to become a full stack developer in 6 months using this Pareto principle. Now, what's important about that, the Pareto principle really identifies 20% of the topics that will yield 80% of the desired result. And it'll help you create a more focused learning plan for you to become even more excellent, in that process. So just like when we go to college, right? Our instructors tell us to buy a book and we cover pretty much 20% of it, right? We very, very seldom do we read the entire book. He'll tell you, read this chapter, read that chapter, read this chapter, and you're gonna have a quiz or a test or whatever that syllabus might direct. Well, in this case, you can shortcut that learning process by just using the Pareto principle. So try fine tuning that same prompt that you use, and add this Pareto principle to it, and see what it actually gives you. It's gonna be pretty amazing when you see what you'll learn using the Pareto principle. This area right here, use the Pareto principle. So in this particular example, I use the Pareto principle, and this is my Python basics course that it initially gave me just in general. So I was like, well, I don't really want to use all of that. But in addition to this, also suggest to me learning resources like books, videos, podcasts, interactive exercises, and for the above topics that cater to different learning styles. That's really important. And you notice I also added a time period, like you're saying, I can do this in 6 months, take it one more step, say I can do it in 6 months, 6 months, devoting 2 to 3 hours a week. And you're going to get an even tighter response from that. So what you see, and this was the first one, I got the books, I got video courses, I've got some interactive exercises. Here I've got podcasts, so talk Python to me if you really want to what do you call this, accelerate your learning exponentially. You want to really immerse yourself in that world, and you want to be listening, you want to be looking, you want to be writing, you want to have that experience so that you can actually learn this at a much faster pace. So when you're taking a walk, when you're doing the exercise, listen to a podcast and you'll start hearing that language over and over. And so I asked it to really focus on artificial intelligence and so forth. So it gave me a new set of those tools. In addition to that, here's something else that, again, just asking it to explain it in the simplest terms. We all learn differently, but if you use this, you'll get a general idea of what that subject matter is. So as you start to go through the process, you have an idea. Now, because I'm a coach, I wanted this to guide me in a visualization exercise to help me internalize the term opportunity cost. And anytime we're trying to do something different, like if we're trying to engage in a new habit, we're trying to start a new course. And believe it or not, 85% of the people who sign up for these courses never even finish. And so when I think about how can I coach you through the process, I love for you to grab this. I'm going to drop this in the chat for you and create that for your own, create that, use that prompt for your own self. So listen to see what happens. Of course, what I'm asking, guide me through a visualization exercise to help me internalize the term opportunity cost and imagine myself successfully applying it to a real life situation by learning Python. In your case, it's going to become a full stack developer in 6 months. Of course, let's begin the visualization exercise. Excuse me one second. Let's begin this exercise to help understand the concept of this opportunity cost. So it's going to take me through that visualization so that you can see it. And that's kind of like just thinking about it. Your imagination is so amazing. But remember, this is coming from a coach trying to help you through that process. So now imagine yourself standing at a crossroads. In front of you are 2 paths, each representing a different choice you could make for your free time. Now understand what I've asked it to do for your free time. The first path is labeled learning Python, or in your case, becoming a full stack developer. And the second path is labeled other activities. As you stand there, think about the activities you could do instead of learning whatever it is you want to learn. Maybe it's watching TV, maybe it's playing a video game, or hanging out with your friends. Picture those activities in your mind. Now let's focus on the path labeled learning Python. Imagine yourself taking that path and embarking on the journey of learning Python. Visualize yourself sitting at a computer, typing lines of code and discovering new things. see yourself understanding Python concepts or understanding your full stack concepts, writing programs, and feeling a sense of accomplishment. Don't you love this? Come on, give me some feedback. This is good stuff, man.
Yeah,
You
good
got
stuff.
to
Thank
see
you.
yourself winning. Isn't
Mhm.
it beautiful? I was like, you got to see yourself winning. So it would certainly help me. And as you continue on this path, imagine the doors that open for you. Visualize the opportunities that come your way as you learn to become a full stack developer. It could be getting a job in a tech company, creating your own cool project, or contributing to the world of AI and machine learning. Feel the excitement and fulfillment that comes from acquiring a valuable skill. Now, this is important. You know, it seems like a lot of words, but you can take these words, record the words, put a little music under, and start to listen to them daily to help you to do what? To stay focused, to stay the course, to visualize your end. And just imagine, Corey, if we were to stop here and you're thinking about this opportunity cost, because we haven't even looked at the other path of your other activities of your free time, right? We're not talking about your
Yes.
work time. We're not talking about you trying to do this while you're working and while you're trying to keep your family, all of these kinds of things. What this is about is you visualizing your good success, right? It's about you thinking about how you can win, at this. And so for me, I started taking this Python course. I did this for myself, and I am at least 60 to 70% complete with the course in 5 days.
Wow.
Now, it is a 10-week course online, but I am almost like 60, 70% into the course. And I started using ChatGPT to accelerate my learning. As I was listening to the instructor and he's saying different things, I created a chat conversation that's only to teach me Python for the course. So if he says something, I'm not fully aware of it, then all I need to do is put that information. And I did mine in what we would call a Q&A, like you were doing flashcards, right? So that it could explain that subject matter to me. But let me continue. So now I want you to think about, I noticed like this is June now, but you did that full stack development 3 months ago, right? In March. So something didn't move you forward, right? There's a gap here between your desire and your action. And so this type of visualization on anything that you want to do becomes extremely powerful, because now you want to see yourself. Now you want to see yourself as an expert in this space. You want to see yourself solving problems. You want to see yourself creating new opportunities, or even if it's for a season, you want to work for a large tech company and be a part of the growth, or even a startup. You want to see yourself in that space. And so now let's shift our attention back to the other path, labeled other activities. Imagine what it would be like if you chose to spend your time on those activities, which you have done in 3 months. You understand? But you've created a roadmap for yourself that would have taken you 6 months, and you'd be halfway done if you had the ability to stay the course and get through the execution gap. And in this case, it says, imagine what it would be like if you chose to spend your time on those activities instead of learning your full stack roadmap. Picture the enjoyment you can get from them, but also consider what you might be missing out on. And that's what opportunity cost is. When we make a decision about something, we go to create that opportunity, but we do other things, right? And we keep doing other things. We're giving up an opportunity cost. What is it going to cost you for not having at least started this process, not at least taking it one more step where you're actually doing it? Now, for me, I chose to get up earlier, like at 5 or 6 in the morning, put in an hour to two or 3 hours learning Python, right? Before I ever started my day, so I can just move on. I don't want to try to figure it out during the day, right? I want to give some focused attention to it. So now I am into it 10, 12 hours. The course is 15 hours. And on the actual course viewing, I'm into it 7 hours. So I'm 50% into viewing a 15-hour course that the instructor is from Harvard. And I've done this in maybe 5 days. 5 days, not 10 weeks, but in 5 days. So I'm just saying, what am I saying here, Corey? You know what I'm saying? So take a moment to reflect on those paths, on both paths, and you have to determine to think about the potential opportunities, because guess what? Time will continue to pass. Either we're here or we're moving somewhere else, right? And you can grow in this, and you can sacrifice an hour of time, whether it's early or in the evening, where there's no demands on you, no requirements and obligations you have to fill, but you have this in your mind, you have it in your heart that this is where you're going because you visualize your success. So you just you reflect on both of those, but by using the prompt that I shared with you is to help you to build out these, to guide you through this visualization exercise. You can use it for anything that you're attempting to do to help you consider, is this really what I want to do? Here's another one that I want to talk about, and this is the Socratic method, or this is critical thinking. This is your reasoning skills, your logic skills. These are big decisions, right? So your task is to ask open-ended questions to the statement I make, and after I provide a response, give me a constructive feedback to each response before you ask the next question. So in this case, what you'll see is certainly I'm happy to engage, and we're talking about Socrates, logic and reasoning, critical thinking. And this is what I love about ChatGPT, is that we can call upon all the greats who have incredible knowledge, right? And ask questions in the way that method, that's what's really important, the method was used to help us solve problems. So in this case, the statement is learning Python is most effective way to gain programming skills. The question is, what makes me believe that learning Python is the most effective way to gain programming skills? Now, the objective here is really helping you to decide if this really is what you want to do. So it's great that you've expressed your belief regarding Python being most effective. However, it would be helpful to understand the reason. And here's the response. I believe this is how we would normally communicate, or I would begin to ask you questions as a coach. Why is this important to you? Then you would give me a response. Then I would ask you another question. Well, we can use ChatGPT to be that kind of coach for us so that it can help us make the right decision. And in this case, what you see, it's telling us that the reason why Python is really, really a good choice is that it's the simplicity of it all, right? Because just writing hello, you can write a program for hello world, and that's one line of code, and you've written code. So this simplicity makes it easier for beginners to grasp the basics of programming. And that is why Python is obviously, is pretty popular these days, is because we can learn it so much more easier. And it has libraries, it has modules, it has all of these things that we can use that are already programmed to create really robust programs to be effective. And the other thing is that if you're interested in AI, it is widely used in building and training neural networks in the field of machine learning. So that's why I'm learning it, is because I want to understand how to design them, not necessarily be the programmer, but I want to be able to use my business acumen, understand how we can solve problems with AI, and then be able to speak the language between technical people and the business strategic area, and do something amazing to impact the world. So that's why I'm taking I'm taking Python. So that is, when we think about that, that's one way that you can begin to teach yourself and train yourself on on these tools. I'm just getting that out of my way. All right, and I'm going to stop sharing. So what's your takeaway from that? That's
Okay.
significant in itself.
Thank you, Coach. My big take now from what you just said is the visualization part, because like for me personally now, the plan was to start by March, but due to some reasons or one or the other, some procrastination, let me just say procrastination. So I've been unable to start. But by asking it to visualizing like visualization exercise now, is going to help me now in scaling up and achieving my goals very easy and not kind of hard for me to achieve.
Mm-hmm. And just get started. That's the key. But yes. Remember, I want you to remember the Pareto principle. The Pareto principle is 90%. Really the key to learning anything, right? You want to learn 20% of it, 20% of the most powerful. You want to learn the 20% that's going to produce 80% of the results of Python, right? And even though these languages have so much code, we keep using the same ones. If you're going to be in the web space or as a developer to help people in that space, you're going to be creating shopping carts, landing pages, blog posts. That's the 80%. So you learn the 20% of the 80% is going to give you the value of 80%. And so when you really fine tune how you want to serve people, then you can begin to fine tune your learning. Make sense?
Yes, Coach.
So then I took this, another step forward when we think about ChatGPT in building a couple of tools to, again, I'm only interested in accelerating my learning exponentially, right? And by doing so, ChatGPT comes in even more powerful than maybe what the course would provide. So what I decided to do is use ChatGPT as a learning, and I think this is going to be helpful for you when you start your stack learning, right? What I discovered through the process of, listening and going through the learning all of the language and all of the terms, the functions, the objects, the variables, all of these things, right? And really trying to determine what is this, number one, what is an argument, what is the callee, and the calla, and see, all of these are just the terms of it, right? Okay. And so I felt like I was learning a lot of the terms, but we weren't doing a lot of coding. The other thing I recognized is that we are going to have to learn to type code, right? Although ultimately we can use ChatGPT or some of the other tools as our coaching, coding coaches to actually help us make more accurate coding, right? But through the learning process, I recognized I really needed to practice, right? I needed to practice actually typing the code. So what I decided to do is use ChatGPT again as my instructor, and you can see my my screen and where whatever we were talking about, I can go through and ask it to communicate to me while the instructor is actually talking. But what I recognize is this is the area that I want you to see, that I know will be helpful to you when you start this process in a very focused way. And that is when we think about the codes, right? Write 20 lines of code that would help me practice typing code on my keyboard so that I can get used to keyboard strokes and placement for Python. So now it went and it created, of course, Hello World. it created a calculator, it created a loop. And see, I've learned all of these things based on how I've been communicating to ChatGPT. So again, but that really wasn't what I wanted. That's just kind of some short code. So what I wanted ChatGPT to do is to create 20 lines of code so that I could take this code, open up I use Pionista on my iPad so I can code from where I am, and then just started copying this code in that, in the program that you're using, so that I could start to become more familiar, if that makes sense, with what I've learned. So when we look at this code, you see cart equals, this is what we're naming it. We're giving it a name, but this is a while, if else kind of process here, right? So that you can see choice. I needed to see all the things I was learning, right, in the code. So that's where we see this code coming to bear, right? And so I would suggest that you also use that code as well, as an opportunity to create various different programs that you can start to practice doing the coding on. Like here's a CSS HTML, and then here's another Python. So these are the things that you have to code. So, but you need something to practice on. And then I asked it to give me additional practice programs that are not full of code, right? And then we started to write out those codes. So that's another way to use it. So we've had Ania, how are you? She's joined us today. I miss you guys.
Hi, Ania.
Yeah, how you doing?
Hi.
So this particular Feedback Friday, Corey and I, we can bring it to a point, that part to closure, where we were talking about learning anything using ChatGPT and how you can use these prompts to really fine tune and use the Pareto principle, which is 20-80. Of it, anything you learn, you're only going to use 20% of it. That's going to give you 80% of the results, right? And have it create a learning program for you, or a roadmap using that Pareto principle on anything that you want to know about or you want to learn about. So that's what we just finished.
And that's interesting. That's very interesting. I hate that I got the tail end.
Yeah, it was pretty good, but it's recorded on YouTube for Get Smart with AI on that channel. And but how's your feedback? How's Feedback Friday? I know y'all been wondering where in the world is Coach. She ain't done no podcast. She ain't done nothing over there.
No, it's okay. Well, I've been watching. I knew you was on break, so I wasn't too hard on you.
Yes, I decided, you know what? I switched those podcasts from just episodes to seasons, and that way I can take a break. But I've been working actually. What's going to happen? We've got the Young Millionaires podcast. I need to do an introductory podcast because I'm trying to actually create my outline for those podcasts, as opposed to just let me do one. So I'm already here. We've got our intro, then we have our Young Millionaires, then we have we're on Pillar 5, I believe that was the last one we may have done, or we may have Pillars 5, 6, and 7 that are so that's another maybe four or five. So I'm at 5 episodes. My goal is to get to 13 episodes. Now I'm doing Richard Branson. I'm doing a podcast on Richard Branson, right? Talking about his journey and learning from, because a part of this is learning from billionaires. I'm also going to cover a billionaire that I've just been introduced to via YouTube, is the Dakota. He's in Nigeria. You recognize that name, Corey? Dakota? Dagota. How can you not, my friend? He's the richest, he's the wealthiest business in Nigeria, number one. And he's also the guy that's building the refinery in Nigeria. I'm sure you've heard of that, right? The $90 billion refinery. I know y'all were talking about that during the elections, I'm sure. But he has many industries. He does sugar, he does several different things. So I'm gonna do one on him. And then I'm thinking about identifying, and this is where you all might be helpful for me, identifying some young millionaires, like that are maybe they're influencers, maybe they're product. And I'll tell you one that I was thinking about was Debret. No, her name's not Debret. Is it Debret? Who's on she's on Steve Harvey or she's married to a female, but her wife has this business that's absolutely incredible. She's a multi-millionaire. She has hair care products, all of these kinds of things. I don't know enough about her just yet, but I'm interested because I saw a video of her in a Walgreens or somewhere, right? Walgreens, where her products are Target. I think it was Target. Her products were all scattered, right? They were not put together. They were in different places, but she used the influencers to actually sell her products, right? And identified and created a influencer program that really grew this thing into an empire. But I've got to do a little more research to understand kind of where she is. But she's another one that I was thinking about, and I wanted to cover so now I'm at about eight podcasts, right? So now I've got that roadmap of going forward. In addition to that, I've been testing those snips to see how people might respond to them. What I did recognize is that people really respond to the emotional things, even though it's, you're trying to talk about business and life and all this stuff, but they really respond to that. And on TikTok, I mean, it's like 1,100 or 1,400 views on, I think it's episode 10, where I've just snipped a small part of that space. And it's pretty powerful. I think the one thing I want to make sure while I have you on here, Ania, is to show you, I think it's Cast Magic. And I think we might have talked about this previously. And that was Cast. Do you recall that? When we talked about Cast Magic?
I don't recall Cast Magic. I recall other things, but this one I do not.
Okay, so let's go to, I think it's Cast Magic. Maybe is it? Y'all see how I got my little thing organized right here, right?
Yeah, this is nice. I like this. It's giving me ideas.
Yeah. Well, this is an actual program. It's an extension. So whenever you see stuff like that, that's an extension in your Google that'll help you to organize that. I'll be sure to add that particular one. Here it is. I thought I had it here. So it makes it easier to find your stuff, right? When you have all of these subscriptions, or you notice how I had it in productivity. And I want you to see this because of your business, right? So your business is podcasting. You should definitely be aware of Cast Magic for your clients. And the reason for that, Corey and I, we've talked about this before, but one of the updates to this is, I'm going to open up this one. It's called Cast Magic. It's a simple board. You upload your audio, and you also can upload any YouTube, whether it's a YouTube video or a YouTube, what you would call a YouTube podcast. And what it does automatically using AI, it goes through that transcript, right? It pulls the transcript. This is the entire transcript of that
episode.
Thank you. Brain got stuck. All right, of the episode, and it'll identify how many speakers, which is important. And in this case, you can see that Young Entrepreneurs is all about, recommending these various different books to the entrepreneur. Now, when I click on the AI, right, it's going to generate, and this is why it's important for your clients, right? You can make their lives a whole lot easier, or you can make your life and your team's life a lot easier to fulfill some of the business, some of your value proposition. You don't have to give it to your client. You can do it just for your business, right? And it'll help you to take that episode. Now we've got titles, and titles are good because we're going to spread those titles over various different social media platforms and not just using the same one. Then it gives you your keywords. It will give you an introduction. If you need timestamp, like for YouTube, for example, you might want to drop that in a YouTube information or explanation like you see. That's what that would be for. If you want to do some kind of Q&A, you can do that as well. When it comes to key topics and bullets, it will do that. There are multiple, look how much content is here, right? The podcast episode summary to the topics covered in the podcast. So you don't have to write all of this. This is almost like this is a content package, Ania. It's not necessarily it's a part of that content, but it shouldn't be necessarily a part of your production. It is an add-on is what we would call it. That would be a part of the big picture. But if you separate them, you might be better selling it to the client. And if they get the production part and then they want the content creation part, then for that podcast, your job is to market the podcast. You aren't marketing a whole lot of other things, but you just want to market this particular podcast and look how much content we have on the podcast. And I'm glad you're here, Corey, because this is what we should be using to fill our calendar. Now, here are quotes, hooks, timestamps around the podcast. Now, this real script is also another tool that can be used. It can be used personally, like, hey, everyone, today's episode, I shared some amazing tips for all the young entrepreneurs out there. But if I had another person working on my team, that person can do it. Or here's the other thing, if we used AI to produce a script and a video, then we could use this type of script just to produce that video, and maybe something called Steve AI or Jarvis AI or any one of these that do videos. So I'm just saying, look how much you have available to you. Then LinkedIn posts, and this is really important because each one of these platforms is a little bit different. So for your LinkedIn posts, you can ask it to do that, but I'm about to blow your mind here in just a minute. Then this is a newsletter, and this is what we saw the last time we saw this, Corey, all of these opportunities, which we felt like was a whole lot, right? So tweet, here's a Twitter thread, if you want to keep just boom, and there are some people who really use that to communicate, and it's not one page, it's actually 3 pages of content. Now here for Facebook posts, now I asked it to produce 5 Facebook posts, and I created this prompt. That's why I think this is so this is actually a next level on this. Before it was just their default. Now I can create my own. So I've asked it to create a Facebook post with questions. So instead of me, like when we post that episode or that clip, we're really asking them the question, right? Not just throwing out information. And then, of course, here's another one, polls. I asked it to create for me polls for social media. So with each one of these podcasts, instead of just adding the content, we can add hey, check out this, and then check out if you'd like to hear more, you can respond to this poll, or you can listen to the podcast. So, and then finally, discussion questions that I've asked about this. So what makes this so unique, because you can fine tune this. Now we're still talking about ChatGPT, guys. But it's now being fine tuned through Cast Magic, right? Now I can actually go back in here if there's something else I wanted to create and generate. This is what I love about it, by the way. so on all my podcasts, like I can create some kind of content around, like I'm gonna just ask it to write a funny and humorous TikTok script, real script, right?
Mhm.
Script. Okay, so generate. We'll see. And then it should generate, when I save that prompt, it's gonna generate for every one of my, excuse me, every one of the episodes that I upload. So you can see some of the examples here too, is that write a 600-word blog, list your key themes, which you've seen in the other thing. But if you want to create something, you know, different, like I've just done. So when you try to be a TikTok star but fail miserably, well, that's not, obviously, I was not, what do you call it? I was not specific enough, right? So I'm gonna try that again. Write a funny and humorous TikTok, I think TikTok reel script for each episode pertaining from the content. Oh, I know how to write that. Real script from the content in the episode. How about that?
So
what do you?
yeah,
What's your recommendation, Corey?
like I'm thinking maybe you can ask it to act like a any comedian now. Like the prompts
act like
acts, yeah.
Like who would be the comedian
Like,
that I want to imitate? Act like
Sinbad.
oh, there you go. That's my cousin. Act like Sinbad. He's not really my cousin. But everybody, when I was in college, everybody like, girl, you know, you and Sinbad relatives. Like Sinbad, the comedian, write a funny and humorous TikTok reel. Thank you. That's going to be an improvement for sure, because he doesn't cuss.
Yeah, it's rough.
Right?
Yep.
He doesn't cuss. Y'all know I can't be up here cussing people out. You know you need to use this guy, doggone. No, I cannot do that.
That is so real.
I mean, I can't even cuss that well. The only real cuss word I say is SHIT, and SHIT means ship high in transit. It does not mean what you think it means. It means ship high in transit. Because the reason why it means that, because shit would blow up planes in the 1800s. I mean, blow up ships in the 1800s, because manure was down in the lower part of the ship. And the ships would blow up. So they start printing on each one SHIT, shit. And means ship high in transit, means that you got to put that stuff on the top and let it get some air. Otherwise, it's going to blow something in here. All right. So, but anyway, so here we go. So instead of saying it's your boy Sinbad, I can do that, you know, whatever. Right. Yeah. And I'm only interested. So what did we learn from today's episode of Billionaire Brilliance? But first off, reading is not just for nerds anymore. It's for all y'all entrepreneurs out there, whatever it is, right? So I'm gonna just hit save this prompt, and this is just gonna be a funny TikTok reel. TikTok reel. Now you should be seeing is that the prompt is act like Sinbad. Instead of act, I might want to say write like Sinbad, a funny and humorous episode in the first person, Coach Anna. So you can do, you can do this for your clients, you know, and then we're going to save the prompt. So now it should be saved every time I upload a new episode. Right now it's generating. It's going to generate that reel as well. So here it is now. It's not quite yet finished, but it'll pop in there as well. So if your client has, you know, anything specific to their needs, then you can kind of create that prompt that will deliver for that. I think this is awesome, right?
Yeah.
And everything's in one place, and I mean, bam, you know what I'm saying? Like, bam. So there you go.
This is actually perfect and timely for me because I just got a new client and she is viral on TikTok. And she has a lot of subscribers on YouTube. So I'm pretty much like editing for them and helping them put content together. And she recently asked us to come up with like any snippets or anything that she can add in the beginning. So this is very timely. Like,
yes. So let me see on this Cast Magic. Let me see. I don't know if it's still available. I'm gonna look for you.com. It may not be. If you're not familiar with this particular software platform, you should be, especially when you are a freelancer, and that's AppSumo. And this was where I got Cast Magic from, right? Let's see. Oh, hey, you see how much it costs? You need to go buy it. It's still available. You can see, you've seen what it can do. This is the way this works. I need to send you one of my links, my affiliate link. But anyway, so what I did is, because I knew it was going to be good for me, I bought all plans, 1, 2, and 3, to give me 500 minutes. I can add multiple shows to it, and it's a basic content output. And what I love about this, you know, as these companies grow, you grow with them. You don't have to pay these whatever their charge. Their yearly charge is $480. That's what that cost would be. For 3 codes, the yearly charge is $1,440. You're not going to pay another penny over $117 forever.
Wow.
So now if you start with 1 code, that's fine. You're still going to get the benefit. However, you're only going to have 100 minutes. So if your client is, now you can also, I mean, you can, if that client, you think that client's going to be with you for a while, you can charge them this $117 in that fee that they're paying, you know, and let them know that this is a tool that we use, and it's a one-time purchase, you know, for that, because they don't have, unfortunately, he does not have what we call an agency opportunity here. So you can always pass that fee on. But the beautiful thing is, if you create it, you get 500 minutes per month, right? Per month, I think. And the beauty is that you can use it for multiple shows. How long is our podcast?
Right now, it's 45 minutes per episode.
Okay, so and she does it on a weekly basis?
She does it once a week.
So that's 9 for her. She would use 4 times 45 minutes is 180 minutes or so, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you would need to at least charge her for her show, you know, and then that would produce all of the other opportunity there. You could probably, I don't know if you can buy more than 3 codes. Let me see. No, you can only buy 3 codes right now. So, but that's something that you guys should be aware of, because a lot of this stuff I get it before it ever hits the market. That's why I got so much software, Corey, in those specific areas. It's because I buy it before I have to pay a monthly fee. And let me see if I can. Yeah. So, but worst case scenario for you, You can decide which clients you might want to use it for, right?
Mhm.
Buy the $39 ones. At least that'll give you 100 minutes, for for the podcast, so that you shine. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
shining like the sunshine, and she thank you the cat's meow. But the beautiful thing about this too is you're using the content, right? You're using content I said. We're not using content from ChatGPT that is producing that content, and it sounds like it's all the same, but we're pulling her information or my information and creating our content based on what I've said or based on what your client said. So if you can spring the 3, that would be your best bet. If you can't, get the 1, get what you can afford until you can do better. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because this, in my opinion, they just added the ability for us to add our own prompt. To me, that took it up a whole nother level. Like I wish I could delete some of their prompts, but I can't do that. I don't see that opportunity. But the fact that I can create as many as my own prompts, I'm good with that. Now that's a winner for me. Because I bet you I can put a prompt in there too. I think I did. I may have to create a mini course from that episode. And if she's doing 45 minutes, just saying, now you increase your value tremendously. You can't give all this stuff away. You know what I mean? You do what she's asking you to do, the snippets, if it's so much, and if she wants, any of the other things, you create that, and then those are upsells. They don't throw in the whole 18 prompts, because I can't use all that content. You know what I'm saying? From week to week. So you can put a package together and say, and be very specific that we can do this, this, and this. This is how we will provide it, and your team can either post it or you can help them, whatever the case. But all of those are you pay for that. And the fact that, because what we've eliminated here, the only thing we have to do is load up that audio. We're not going back and forth to ChatGPT, right? We're just loading up the audio. We put all our prompts here specifically for this podcast or video. It could be a video as well, and create that content from there. And then you'll create another workflow to get it where it needs to be.
Yeah, that's on a whole nother level. I like it. I'm just gonna take that.
It's your business. You know what I mean? It is your business, and it's something that's going to help your workflow and create real value for your business. And you don't have to wreck your mind trying to figure this out, because the key, in my opinion, for Cast Magic is we're using ChatGPT to format our own content. People are talking, people are saying this. It's kind of like the YouTube summary kind of thing. And then you build content. So, but that's my offering. So that's my offering today.
Thank you. Thank you so
Coach.
much.
You are very welcome. So how are you guys winning? How are you winning in your own personal? And then we'll close from there. What's your feedback? What's your success? You can always share unsuccessful feedback. Like I've been very unsuccessful getting people in this doggone class. I've been just very unsuccessful in every way possible. So I'm not discouraged by any means. I'm just preparing myself in greater ways. If you went back to see the beginning of this, when we talked about the Python, I'm taking a Python course so it can continue to help me with this AI and understand the neural networks, machine learning, and some of the things to upskill my business acumen with my level of, like, as an executive, and have this kind of knowledge, plus the business acumen, strategy, all of the operational financial things that I have. I just got to be increasing my value every day.
That's good. I'm soaking in that. Okay.
So what's your win?
You was gonna ask what's my win? You okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm here. Can you?
Oh.
I don't know. But go ahead and share with us your win. I'm not sure what happened.
So the beginning of this month, I received a notice for a new client through LinkedIn, and they pretty much was like, I'm looking for an editor, and we would love to have you as one of our editors. And they gave me a reel and everything. And I did well, and they were like, this girl knows what she's doing. So I ended up getting a new client to edit for their podcast, which is the young lady I was talking about.
Excellent.
I also got a prospective client, and we're working on getting him started with his podcast. And we're also going to be discussing a year contract together because he would like for me to, well, the company to edit his podcast throughout the year. So those are the big wins, and all that is through, surprisingly, LinkedIn.
Yes. Well, that's where people are doing business.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to show up in the space. Uh-oh. I don't know what's going on over here. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure what's happening with my little system. Weird. Okay, hold on. I'm still here, but that's can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure what happened here on my little system here. But anyway, I think that's great. That's great. And on LinkedIn, you have to keep showing up. You know what I mean? And talking, and you have to show up talking about podcasting. Your content is your 7 or 8 steps, your 8-step system. Is taking that content and just sharing a little at a time, not a whole lot, recommending some equipment, show yourself as the expert.
Yes, ma'am.
And the other thing you can do is share articles, all sorts of things. Do you have a blog?
Not yet. I'm working on it.
All right. So using ChatGPT, you want to give it a prompt to write a blog cluster, topic cluster for beginner, intermediate, and advanced podcasting. So what we've done, we just covered all that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You can tell it, you can tell it that I'm a producer, I'm marketing my business, I do such and such and such, and write a topic cluster on podcasting for beginners, advanced, intermediate, and advanced. What's going to happen with that topic cluster? Plus, you want metadata. You also want keywords, and you want keywords, descriptions. You know what I'm saying? And what's going to happen is it's going to share with you all these topics and ask for 10, right? Because you need some blogs on your, I'm not sure what happened to my camera, guys, but I want you to make sure that if you do 10 blogs, all of those blogs are going to be connected together. If you create it in a topic cluster, then you're going to start to connect them. Then here's the final part of the assignment is look for 3 links that you can attach to each one of those blog topics, from like Medium, from Adriana Huffington Post, and some maybe major podcast, like magazine or online, education, something like that, right? And don't be afraid of connecting those links, because then you'll become known more as an authority in that space. So Medium, Huffington, or Reddit, or any of these that can help people gain even more information, because you can't write it all, you can't educate them all, you're introducing them to it, right? And then be sure to talk about your services in those blogs. You can tell it to make sure to, like, you could take all of your services, put it in one document, take that document, add it to ChatGPT, tell it to review this information and include my products and services in the articles, right? As writing about them, where you can easily link back to your services.
Thank you for that.
That'll take you 5 or 10 minutes to do, you know, but make sure you put your information in there on each one of your services or your 8 topics, so that you'll have a reason, like you say, well, I want to start my podcast. Well, start podcast, right? It's going to be highlighted with a link to your package to start that podcast. In the paragraph, are y'all following me, right? Or
Yes,
in the title, you know, like in the title, is start your podcast. You might link to your page. All right. So all I need is somebody to listen to me. I got something to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, sir. Yeah.
Oh my God. So guys, have a great weekend.
Yeah, and
be
sorry,
great,
Coach.
stay brilliant. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, before you go, we go. I think we need to like create a prompt library, like Coach Anna prompt library, something like that. Because
Yes, it's true, isn't it?
yeah,
It's very true.
Yeah.
I think I actually started a prompt library on Notion, which I've got 1,000 prompts.
Yeah.
So, but you don't need all those prompts. It's just a lot of prompts. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, there's a lot, but there
it-
are some important ones we can use.
excellent. You got it. So, all right, guys, have a great weekend, and let's connect next week. And I'll start getting on those podcasts next week. Anita, I did leave a note for you on project. I don't know if you finished. Did you finish? I don't know if you finished. Did you finish the Young Entrepreneur?
Yes, ma'am. I finished all of them and left you a message.
Oh, okay. I think I might have them confused somewhere up in there. But anyway, all right, then I'll take another look at that, because I don't know if I saw the whatever. But anyhow, who? I'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Have a great weekend. All right. Bye-bye.
See you soon.